Akademiks can't ride no wave.
Chat, the Billboard chart says, I thought they said it was going to be delayed till tomorrow. It's actually, it was put out today. And a lot of records were broken. A lot of records were broken. We're gonna start this out. And by the way, I do have some more breakdowns of the album that I do want to do. But let's read the article that Billboard put out. Billboard has put out this article saying that Drake is the only living soloist to achieve the feature since the chart combined stereo and mono albums in 1963. Now, Drake today, he charted 12 albums on the Billboard 200 chart. And they said he did this for the first time ever. Now, not the first time he ever did it, but the first time it's ever been done. Now, I want to show you the albums that were charted. And they've been tweeting out records for this guy all day. So here are his albums, all 12 of them. Iceman was back on the charts today. Well, not back on the charts. No, it's debut number 1. Abiti, debut number 2. Maid of Honor, debut number 3. Take Care jumped to number 25. Views was at number 40. Some Sexy Songs for You with Party Next Door was at 55. Scorpion was at 65. Certified Lover Boy went to 69. Thank Me Later went to 81. For All the Dogs went to 96. More Life went to 130. And Nothing Was the Same went to 167. I was actually really surprised that Her Loss didn't make this list at all. But still, record number of albums being on the top 200 list, right? This is all this week. Now, I do want to have somewhat of a qualitative discussion about what does that mean, right? What does that mean to you guys? Well, I'll tell you what it means. It literally means that the play I told you that Drake was doing is being very effective. And how is it being effective? Well, Drake is just giving a stimulus package to UMG, right? If you guys look at, I don't know if you guys care about some of these things. UMG, stop. In the last month, Universal Music Group, the price of the stock has increased. Why? Number one, they have told people they're a catalog company. Now, even though Drake has 3 new albums, look at all these other albums that are catalog albums. And they're getting a lot of profit from that. But it's not only just Drake, but other artists as well. Also, it seems to be setting Universal up. And that's what I'm saying. Drake's move might have worked. If I'm Universal, you got to retain Drake. This beef or this battle is not a beef, obviously. You don't beef with your record label. This little feud, it's so minuscule that you got to solve it. Yes, I know Drake sued. The lawsuit got dismissed. He's filed an appeal. What I believe is going to happen is that this is going to be settled at some point. By the way, Drake has a song. What song is it? Is it Firm Friends? Where he's kind of like talking about it a lot. Where is it? Yeah, he has a song where he's kind of talking about it. And if you've wondered why he did 3 albums, if you've wondered what the play looks like at the moment, I'm going to show you what it is. Actually, we were listening to this guy earlier. How do I He pointed out the lyrics. I'm trying to figure it out. Is it this guy? Oh, maybe not. Maybe it is him. It's the UMG stuff. Here we go. Okay, right here. Good. Right here.
It's fried to the R switch base with the I.
Says, yo, this lawsuit I got is fried until the R is switched with the I.
The frame of this people retired, but we know it's a truth and a lie.
But then they'll frame it as some people retired.
Okay, so Drake actually gives us, and by the way, thank you to this guy. This guy's pretty good. I wish him and What's the Dirt would collab. But Drake actually explains in a roundabout way what's up with his situation. And he always does this. What's up with his situation with UMG and what's the current plan? And, one of my things that I've been really critical of Drake about is like, yo, Drake, bro, like, when it comes to like fighting your label, a lot of times you got to explain to your fans what's going on, right? Because your fans don't really know what's going on. Like we've seen Taylor do it, but Taylor spoke out about it. We've seen Prince do it when he put like slave on like his face, but like he was in media speaking about what was going on and what was happening to him. Drake kind of has just filed a lawsuit. You can read the lawsuit, but it doesn't really kind of help explain like his vision for what he expects to happen or what his real gripe is.
So right now, the status of Drake's lawsuit, as I make this video, like he basically lost, right? So Drake is acknowledging that's what it looks like, but it seems like he's saying that's not what it actually is. So it seems like Drake is suggesting that people at UMG are going to start being fired because of what happened with this lawsuit. But to the public, it's just going to look like that people are retiring. Oh, this person resigned, this person retired. In reality, behind the scenes, what actually happened is people are getting fired because of how things happen. Now, I don't know Drake's larger plan here, but he reinforces what he's saying with the next bar.
And I act like we signing a deal when they pay me for wasting my time.
So it seems like Drake foresees some form of settlement.
Now, this is where I actually said, by the way, I think this is how this ends. And I didn't, this went over my head. That's why I'm glad for this guy. He caught it. We're going to hear that Drake signs. Remember, I told you this. He signs a high 9-figure or a 10-figure deal, 10-figure meaning $1 billion. And all their issues are going to resolve amicably. They're going to put out a statement saying Drake is a really good artist, a valuable asset, someone who they, have published and promoted over a dozen LPs, and that they value the relationship and they're excited for it to continue into the foreseeable future. This is why I know people look at the lawsuit and, the stupid niggas are going to say Kendrick. The slightly smarter niggas are going to say, well, no, he's trying to beat the label, but how could you really beat the label? There is a potential here, or not even potential. It appears that if I had to say, Drake has angled the albums as what he needs to probably get across that finish line in whatever negotiation, because remember, the negotiation hasn't really stopped with Universal. Okay? So he's used that to get his leverage. Now, some people have thought this was always for Drake to leave. Well, here's the thing. Let me give you an analogy. If you're dating a chick, you cheat on her once, all right, she forgives you. Second time you cheat, she gets mad, she breaks some stuff, whatever. But basically, you get the feeling that this bitch ain't going nowhere. You gonna stop cheating? Fuck no. Like, again, in any discussion, you go buy a car, right? And you're haggling with prices. The one advantage you have is like, you know what? I'm going to the Nissan dealership, okay? Toyota, whatever y'all call it. We're going over there. That's how you cut the short shit short. And people like me, I say, you know what? No matter how much Drake put a lot into this album personally, a lot. But I still don't look at Drake as an independent artist. I don't think that, it would be so costly. It would be so much of a headache to run an operation of Drake as an independent artist. I don't know if he wants to do that. So I've always said that what's not going to happen is that Drake is not going into the free market. And when I mean going into the free market, he's not going to drop an album as an independent artist. However, in trying to get the leverage he wants, he has to threaten that or basically be almost willing to do it. He got to walk away from the negotiation table. Oh, all right, word? All right, bet. I'll be a free agent. I'll catch you guys on the charts. All right? Now, with him dropping all these albums, with this is a huge week for UMG. A huge week. They're also reminded that, hey, with these 3 new albums, by the way, Drake drops more music than everybody in the top 10 streaming usually, right? And well, Youngboy's not in the top 10 streaming, but he drops more music than obviously like Rihanna, Abel, Taylor Swift. The way how streaming is monetized these days is that streaming is old enough that Drake new shit makes his old shit more money for UMG. So UMG even this week is eating more off his old shit than his new shit. So the thing is, why not keep Drake pumping out albums on your label that's going to help the old shit that you're getting money hand over fist with? And yeah, just kind of rate him at a different financial level and do the numbers. But $1 billion, yeah. Yeah, also, here's the thing too. What is the cost of going through this whole litigation with Drake? Right? Do you want to go through this whole thing and then, I don't know, I'm not saying they're going to necessarily lose, but they could. You want to limit exposure. Remember, these companies don't have like that ego, right? They don't have that ego of, nah, fuck that. We're going to do something that doesn't make financial sense because Drake has kind of dissed us. And I think Drake has kind of like put this lawsuit out there and did all these albums and set up a whole bunch of plays while they're still negotiating. And the final act of the negotiation was dropping the music. Because think about it. If you're beefing with your label, why not just wait? Like, the buzz was up crazy. Why not wait till the end of the year? He could have waited till the end of the year, right? But he wanted to do it now. Why?
Your plan here, but he reinforces what he's saying with the next bar.
And I act like we signing a deal.
So he says they're going to act like we're signing a deal when they pay me for wasting my time. So he's almost saying if he gets a settlement that keeps him with UNG, really that's the lawsuit money. That's how he's going to take it, if you get what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah, when they pay me for wasting my time.
So it seems like Drake foresees some form of settlement or payout from UMG in his future. And Drake continues.
And I act like I lost my appeal, but they'll pay me for changing their mind.
They'll act like I lost my appeal, but they'll pay me for changing my mind. And lastly, and I think a perfect end to this video.
What happened to Drake from 2009? When
yeah, it's just an advantageous position that Drake is in, right? So again, let me kind of like further like build this out. At some point, UMG probably says, hey, we have a valuable asset. He has the most profitable catalog in music right now, right? That we own or we retain a huge ownership portion over it, especially his earlier albums. He's also suing us. Fuck it. Whether it's considered a new record deal or is considered him thinking he won the lawsuit, we're gonna have to pony up some money to either keep him or fight him. Let's just give the money. Who cares how it's interpreted? Now Drake might be like, I told you I was right. I got paid, right? They might just be like, well, you're gonna get paid regardless from the fact that we were gonna re-sign you. And obviously, you know, you could be like, maybe he would be like, well, I got more, but who cares? Money, the check was gonna get cut. And Drake is kind of like, in a subtle way, like breaking this down. Bees on the table. Bees on the table. And it's clear, like in a negotiation sense, I'm not sure if it's multiple bees, but Drake is basically kind of like setting that as a barometer. That's the floor. I want $1 billion. If I ain't getting $1 billion, see your ass in court. So now we could assume, and by the way, you know what I think is going to happen? You know what I think is going to happen? Let's go. Universal Music Group quarterly. We want to go to the quarterly calls though, actually. Oh fuck. UMG quarterly call. Okay. I'm going to tell you why I want to go here. No, that's just my email. I emailed myself the fucking thingy. The screenshots. Okay. Okay, so these are weekly. Let's go by these are financial results. Let's see. Fuck. We probably have to wait till next quarter. So next quarter, what month is this? The 5th month? So the 6 month, we got to wait till July. Y'all want to make a bet with me? I'll make a slight bet with y'all. Drake drops the album now. The next quarterly call, right? When is UMG Q3 call? Oh, never mind. It could be in late October. Okay, so for reference, Q3 2025. No. Took place. No. What about Q2? Okay, July. Okay. Either end of July. Okay, so July 29, 2026. Guarantee we get the update on Drake's contract then. You know why? Drake is one of the top 3 biggest artists that's on UMG, right? They have to give investors at least a forecast of what's happening with this guy. Is he becoming a free agent? Or are you keeping him? I suggest, and I agree with Drake, that this deal is already complete, or it was nearing completion when he put the album out. I literally believe that the deal was already damn near finalized. Whatever this deal is, it's already damn near finalized. And Drake basically walked it across the line with the 3 albums. Shebang. It's over. Grand Slam, hit him out the park. So I think that we're going to get some announcement about them signing a multi-contract, multi-varied deal with Drake that I'm not sure if it would be said that it's $1 billion, but we know it's $1 billion because he's saying B's on the table, and he's been saying B's. Like, come on. So I believe we will get Lucian in either the next earning call or by October. And I put some money on that. I put a little light 500 on it. We will get a update. And I think it will be favorable for Drake. Now, let me ask you guys this. If Drake re-signs, remember we were like kind of talking about this shit like, well, the beef with Kendrick fucked it up for him, right? He got $400 million. He did those albums, supposedly recouped really quickly. Okay. And then apparently he starts to negotiate. Of course, he wants more. Let's say he wants $600 million now, right? Maybe he wants $700. Who knows? When he's trying to get that bread, here Kendrick goes, drops the songs. Universal probably sees like, wait, hold on. We get to knock Drake down a notch here. And that $600 he wants, shit, we could have offered that nigga $300. We could get a little discount. Nah, nigga. Drake is calling that practice out, saying, hey, listen, you guys promoted it while you're in the contract negotiations with me. So, basically, let's say Drake was going to get his $600. So now, the beef devalues him. And then what he does is it takes 2 years. He comes back with 3 banger albums. He's back. But now the price done went up. It ain't $600 no more. We can't go back to $600. We want $1 billion. Give us the B. Give us the B. If that is what this ends up being, did Drake win? Did Drake win? Because I want to let you guys know the numbers that was supposedly being discussed in negotiation before the Kendrick Lamar battle, I didn't hear from confidential sources. Obviously, that means not Drake. I didn't hear from anybody that would be in the know in that building at Universal that Drake was in the running for getting $1 billion then. But now, I am hearing it is pony up time. It's $1 billion or nothing. If you can't come with the $1 billion, let that man go. Let my people go. He's shown that he'll live up to the threat. Oh, I'll go independent. It's fine. He rapped about it. He dropped 3 albums. Now, I don't know if he's in a holding period right now to officially get out the deal, but his contractual obligations are done. He has no more contractual obligations to UMG, and usually this is a period you're at the 11th hour, you need to re-sign this guy. Because if he could drop another album, and we would imagine if it's like a standard contract, when you complete your contract requirements, they bar you from putting out any music for a certain time. Why? Well, if they want to re-sign you, it gives them a chance to have that leverage to re-sign you. But number two, it gives them some type of reason to profit off what you just dropped. They don't want you to go drop a new album and step on it. But you got to imagine, think about Frank Ocean, this type of ball game. Imagine Drake dropping and doing Iceman numbers on an independently owned label. Now, this is where people are starting to come up with these private equity and, you know, he's going to do something with Gamma or something like that. You know, I do think Drake would take a $2 million private equity loan. Or not, when I say loan, like a record deal in a sense, where he owns all the shit, but like they get to recoup off of that, and how long would it take? Keep in mind, I did the math on what Drake's music, you know, even conservatively is making per day. It just means that whoever would be doing this type of deal with him, they would definitely recoup. It's just about a matter of what time period. So that's kind of happening. And we're going to get to some of the songs, but I love the business of this stuff, man. I really enjoy the business of what Drake next move is, because he's playing a big boy game right here, huh? Anyway, give me a second. All right. What's this? All right. Shout out to my guy Eric Jackson right here. I do like his content. I like him because, you know, unlike the lazy hip hop media that I'm giving belt to, you know what I mean, all these fuck niggas, this guy comes at it with a different angle. He seems to be very financially savvy. He knows the markets. I could tell he knows a lot about being at least a financial analyst and kind of estimating, you know, what something might be worth, what the next play might be, and even bigger plays. For example, I've seen him eloquently break down, I forgot the French guy who has a big percentage of UMG, and also it's through Vivendi. But he did a really good job explaining that. Let me see if I could. Okay, I might have to go to his. Here we go. Oh shit! Of course, I always fucking open my email on thing, huh? Okay, this is him. Anyway, here we go. Okay, this is interesting.
G Live. I'm fresh back from the wet Sunday morning.
Okay, maybe is this?
On Friday, in a Paris courtroom, the man that Sir Lucian Grange answers to got some bad news. Vincent Bolloré. It's day 278. Most Drake fans have never heard of Vincent, and he prefers it that way. African ports built his fortune. Universal Music was his trophy. The CIAM case, the Advocate General turned against him on Friday. Quote, Vincent Bolloré has been able to impose his will on Vivendi's general meetings through a strong relative majority. The court rules finally on July 8th. It's the same fight, but 25 years ago, Edgar Bronfman Jr. inherited Seagram, his grandfather's Canadian liquor dynasty, and he bet the whole thing, 100 years of tradition, on Universal, the studio, the theme parks, and the music business. Then he was forced to merge everything into Vivendi in 2000, right before the dot-com bubble burst. And he watched his whole family's 100-plus year empire crater. Edgar lost the dynasty. Bolloré inherited the piece that survived. 12 years later, first Vivendi and then UMG. Bronfman, meanwhile, rebuilt at Warner Music, sold it to Len Blavatnik in 2011. The Canadian who blew his family's dynasty is still swinging. He's on boards now. He does deal making, or tries to. But he's got...
Okay, this is not one of the most interesting breakdowns, but essentially there's high level business happening. So one of the guys who have a big stake in UMG, he's doing some angling that if he has to sell UMG, right, he gets to sell for the highest price. And there is an offer to buy UMG. The guy, Bill Ackman, he came in and offered $64 billion, right? Currently, they're trying to figure out if they're undervalued or overvalued, or should they take the deal. And all of these parts are happening at the same time. Now, I've made this this connection before, but one of the reasons why Drake also is playing 4D chess as well is that Drake knows this is happening. The Bill Ackman offer to buy Vivendi, no, not Vivendi, but Universal. Bill Ackman, Universal. They've offered $64 billion. Well, it's like imagine buying the San Antonio Spurs, and they say, oh yeah, you get the Spurs, you get the arena, you get the team, you get the jerseys, the design, you get the trainers, you get the coaches, but you don't get Wembanyama. Wouldn't you be like, no, hold on now, nigga. Give me a discount. Now, I'm not buying it, period. So Drake's situation before any sale of Universal happens needs to be finalized. It needs to be understood to a potential bidder or buyer what's happening with a top 3 act that moves the bottom line. You can't just have this guy say, I might go independent. I might not. No. We need it set in stone. Also, they're getting sued. So that's what I'm saying. Drake is operating also in the right timing, because as they look towards possibly selling, they need to figure out what's going on with Drake. Drake drops new albums. This is going to be something that artificially inflates the value of Universal, but it's going to severely deflate it if Drake leaves. So now they're really incentivized to give Drake what he wants. And whether you want to call it, they're going to acknowledge that Drake had a case or whatever, I'm pretty sure they're going to do some type of deal that says no more lawsuit, new record deal. Okay.
43 tracks.
Here we go. I like when he talks to business.
All right, it's day 276, Crodies, and I want to talk about why Gamma matters.
Okay, he's talking about Gamma a bit.
All right, on Sunday, I told you about Vincent Bolloré.
Okay. This is the better explanation of this. This is about the owner, the French billionaire. That's one of the few owners, but he has controlling power over Universal Music. Check this out. I know you might say, what does this have to do with Drake? Everything has to do with Drake.
The French billionaire.
Drake has to be in the know of this to leverage what he's doing.
Who controls Universal Music. And today I want to show you something that most fans haven't connected. Why Bolloré wants Drake's situation with Universal to stay messy. Bolloré controls 28% of Universal Music. He owns 18% directly and 10% through Vivendi, which is a French media giant that he also controls. And here's what's been happening. Universal stock has been getting cheaper for a year now. It's half.
Okay. So he's actually, this is like 4D chess. I like this guy. So remember, Universal is going to sell at some point, right? One of the guys who owns the majority of Universal right now, he doesn't want a deal with Drake to be struck. Why? Because as there is this dysfunction or uncertainty, the stock will get cheaper. Now, when it's cheaper, he wants to buy it, that he owns more. When he owns more, then they'll figure out what's going on with Drake, and then they'll sell it for way more. If you get what I'm saying? They're basically actually, well, he's going to explain it, but I hope you get what I'm saying.
As expensive relative to its profits as it was 12 months ago. And the profits grew over that 12-month period. It's not like this is a declining business. It's getting better. So Bolloré is buying his own pyramid level by level. He wants Universal to stay cheap because a lower Universal means a cheaper buyout when he takes control down the road. And this is where Sir Lucian Grange comes in. Sir Lucian runs Universal for Bolloré. Lucian's pay, his 5-year, $550 million compensation plan that he's just received, his board seats, they all sit inside of Bolloré's cascade. Every major decision that Sir Lucian makes operates inside of that incentive structure, including how he handles Drake. And now here's the math that Drake fans haven't connected yet. Every quarter that the Drake situation stays unresolved is another quarter that Universal trades at a discount. So if Sir Lucian settled with Drake tomorrow,
here we go.
If he just signed a big $1 billion check or $400 million renewal, dropped the lawsuit, ended the public fight, Universal would probably re-rate up. The overhang would lift. UMG's stock price would be higher, and therefore it would become a more expensive purchase for Bolloré. The buyout math would get expensive at every level of the pyramid. So that's the controlling shareholder's worst case.
So if you, I hope we're not like drowning you out in some of like the business details here. From the top down, from bottom up and top down, people are playing games to get their billions. That's why Drake needs to play his game to get his billion. So even at the very top of this chain, you have one of the owners of UMG. He wants the stock to get cheaper that he could buy it back. And then when he buys it back, he's going to figure out all the stuff that's made it cheaper, i.e. Drake, not whatever, pay Drake off. And then, because think about this, right? Like, here's the easy math. They get an offer right now for 64, right? Drake's deal is still like in limbo. Well, if you get an offer right now for 64, well, how about, you wait a bit. I don't know, give Drake $1 billion, $1.5 billion. When you now announce that Drake is back on board, that 64 is no longer the thing. They might have to give you 70. So Universal pockets $6 billion, and all they need to give Drake to solve his issue is like $1 billion. At the end of the day, they could leverage him to get more money, and the money they get from leveraging him would be to pay him. That's actually genius.
Case, not his best case. So Bolloré is structurally long the chaos. He's long Iceman, but he's long the lawsuit. He's long the Drake distraction footnote in every analyst note covering Universal. Drake thinks he's fighting Sir Lucian, and he is. But every bar he drops, every motion he files, every quarter the renewal stays open, it serves Vincent Bolloré. The catalyst is tomorrow. The Paris Court of Appeals rules on whether Bolloré legally controls Vivendi. And verbatim from the senior court advisor's opinion, Vincent Bolloré has been able to impose his will and determine the outcome of decisions adopted by Vivendi's.
Okay. All right. So I think you guys are getting it. Let me just see.
All right, yesterday.
Oh, okay. This is a good one, and then we'll move on.
Talked about Michael Jackson buying his catalog, and the structure still took it away from him. Today, I want to talk about two artists who refused the inside game, and one left and one is master's back. And one actually turned the album into the contract itself. And people called both crazy at the time. But both were rational moves. So go back to 1992. There was a headline, a Warner deal, 6 albums, 10 million each, 25%. And the publicist touted it was a $100 million deal. But if you read the small print, Warner kept the masters and rationed when he could release. He didn't want more money. He wanted to own the work and decide when it shipped. And the contract was built so that he couldn't decide that. So this is the MJ lesson inverted. You can't get out of a contract where you're out negotiated by a counterparty who controls your masters and your release pace and your name. So that was Prince with Warner. Warner literally owned the trademark Prince. So he decided to stop playing the house's game with the house's chips. So in 1993, he changes his name to an unpronounceable symbol. But be precise about this because it's the part that everyone gets wrong. He was still under the Warner contract. So the name change was not independence. It was a protest device to split the new work from the Warner-owned Prince identity while he ran the deal out from the inside. So he wrote slave on his face on live TV. 1995 to 96, he was still inside Warner, and his own line was, if you don't own your masters, your master owns you. So the actual exit for Prince happened in 1996. So he parts with Warner's, he releases Emancipation on his own NPG with EMI handling distribution. And here's the part that ties straight back to what we talked about yesterday with MJ. And get this exactly right, because it's the whole point. He did keep working with majors. Arista in 99, Columbia in 04, but album by album on short-term deals, keeping his masters. So never again he signed an all-encompassing, perpetual masters-owning contract that Warner had him in before. Never again that deal that owns you. So this is how the MJ beat 6 HOW alive in one career. Cost was brutal for Prince. He paid in the currency that the artists fear the most, perception. Because there were years where he was called crazy. His commercial peak spent in this fight. But it worked. From 96 onward, he owned everything new. And in 2014, about 20 years after it first started, Warner returned full ownership and control of his Warner era masters to him on his terms. So that's one clear case of a maximal artist taking the structure head on from the outside and walking away with the masters. Come on, dogs. In 1978, though, I'm going to give you a second example. Here, My Dear, which was a divorce settlement between Marvin Gaye and Anna Gordy. His lawyer's structure was this: the album's advance plus $295,000 of its earnings, which worked out to about $600,000, would go to her in place of alimony. And the catch most people missed was that if Marvin under-earned on the album, he'd have to pay the difference. So the urban legend was that he tanked the album to cheat her, and that was false, because the record wasn't only about the divorce. It was about a contract that you could put on a turntable. And so that's the form precedent, not the road that Prince took. It's a different access entirely, but it proves something structural. A serious recorded work can function as a legal financial